Hi all! Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody had a wonderful evening. We have a lot to cover again. We had a huge storm here. At the very end, I'm going to show you what happened, and along with Finn and the cats. Very interesting. All right, let's get to it, shall we? Let's go. Starting off, I want to thank my subscriber, Laura, for sending me this. This is a Canadian $2 coin. It's a Queen Elizabeth Memorial Collection piece. And you know, my mom, before she passed away, had a coin collection which was stolen. And I have started a new coin collection, and this is going to go in it. So there you go. All right, moving on. Now, the next thing I want to show you is this card that came in the mail. It was a beautiful card. And from what I can tell, the person who sent me this card actually made the card. She wrote to me a nice note and said her crafting stuff was still not thoroughly out, but Bo, love the card. Thank you so much. We're going to start off this morning with the royal news with Prince of Wales, Prince William. He held an investiture at Windsor Castle, and two people that he did I thought was very interesting. The first one was Jason Knopf, the former chief executive of the Royal Foundation and the one who came forward with the bullying allegations against Meghan Markle and was able to prove that Meghan had perjured herself to a court of law. I love that he was given this honor. He was made a lieutenant of the Royal Victorian Order, and I've always said he should write a book that says, with the title, Recollections May Vary. Now, the other award given out was an OBE that was given to Tony Hudgell and his mother, and she put out a statement that said this is all for all the children like Star and Arthur who have lost their lives or suffered at the hands of people who should have protected them. Very touching sentiments and well-deserved award. Moving on. Next up, I told you there was a garden party and Sophie and Catherine were there, but I forgot to tell you that the Duchess of Gloucester was there, as well as the Duke of Gloucester. Now, Edward was there as well. I showed you, I think, one picture, but then I found these pictures on Twitter, which I think really show him. I love him in a top hat. Maybe it's just me. Also there, as you can see, was Princess Anne, looking wonderful. I just love Anne. All right, now moving on, a beautiful necklace and earring set that supposedly Dodi Fayed had made and gave to Princess Diana is going up for sale. It was worn by Diana at the gala evening for Swan Lake at the Royal Albert Hall, June of 1997, which was her last official engagement before her death. Now, this necklace was made from 178 diamonds, 5 matching 12 millimeter South Sea pearls, and it has a total of 51 carats, and it was returned to the Crown Jewelers Garage so they could make a matching pair of earrings. But before the set could be given to Diana, the two of them were killed in the Paris car crash. So those jewels are now going to be auctioned off in New York next month, and they're expected to fetch between $5 and $15 million. So this set has been named the Swan Lake set. A prominent Ukrainian family has owned it since 2008. But of course, they're in the Ukraine and they're at war, and so they need to put them up for auction. And supposedly, this is the only fine jewelry ever owned by Diana that's been publicly sold, because everything else that she wore was mostly loaned to her by the crown. So, yeah. Now, a portion of the proceeds will be dedicated to rebuilding pieces of Ukraine. I think that's wonderful. And as you can also see, there's a letter from Paul Burrell. He approached Lady Diana's sister to get permission to sell the piece, and with part of the proceeds going to the Princess Diana Fund. Nicely done, you guys. All right, moving on. All right, moving on. Remember I told you about that whole Blackmoor thing with Shouty Shola? This is what I was trying to tell you, what the Caribbean prince put. She doesn't understand the Moor history because the people in the brooches, there are leaders and nobles and looked upon as wise people and royalty. That's why there's diamonds and stuff all over them. They were kings, they were queens, they ruled England in during the Roman Empire. Exactly. Shouty Shola doesn't understand the history. She doesn't care about the history. She's too busy screaming racism. Which brings me to this. Richard Eden actually put something up that said, look out, because Shola's on the hunt for racist ornaments at Buckingham Palace. Maybe because all the Netflix documentary imagery turned out that none of it was at the palace and it was a lie. So as Richard Eden wrote, after it was pointed out that those were not Blackmoor objects, but bronze candelabras that show women weeping with their heads in their hands, she said, quote, my outrage, if it were true, still stands. Yeah, your statements are enough to make the rest of us weep. I completely agree. Moving on. Now, with all of that said, I would like to say that to K-Pax and Hi My Ope 1955, I hope I'm saying that right. I completely agree with your comments about Omid, Shola, and Tessa, and Meghan Markle. The apocalypse, for sure. Moving on. Really quickly, I just want to throw this in about Andrew. Apparently, he still sees himself as a man with a lot of life to give. He's 63. He doesn't want to retire. And they said, even if he does retire, what is he going to do? He's doing this big PR round along with Fergie, and they're saying that he may be doing that in an attempt to rehab his, for big PR, to make himself look better and an attempt to come back. He's trying to come back and be seen as an honest person who just needs to get on with his life. And they've noticed that Andrew seems to be getting mentioned a lot. He's trying to work his way back in. Let's see how that goes. All right, I'm just throwing this in there because I find it interesting. Princess Concrete pointed out, when you think about what Charles said at the toast, here's to Archie wherever he may be. And she pointed out that, do you think it's a coincidence that that was said? And yet all these supposed pictures of Harry and Meghan with Archie have been proven to have some Photoshop to them? Really makes you stop and think. I have to agree. I hadn't thought of that. Moving on. Next up, CJ Hawkings. I've told you before, you need to follow her blog. It's amazing. She did another blog on Shut Up Omid, because you're not a royal reporter. Well, she's right. Great blog. You need to read it. But Luna B pointed out that the Bentley with the whales was actually following the carriage. So the narrative that he put out was absolutely a lie. Here's the picture. There's the Bentley. You can see the whales in the back seat. Absolutely correct. They were behind the carriage. Moving on. This is interesting. I told you guys before that Meghan Markle is a Kim Kardashian wannabe. And apparently she hired Kim Kardashian's bodyguard. Now these guys, according to the article, charge up to $1,800 a day. All right. Now, very interesting. I've told you before that they had hired, I did a whole video on it. They hired this guy called Alberto Alvarez, who you see above. Now, Mr. Alvarez, who used to work for Michael Jackson, had been arrested. He'd had drunk driving convictions. He had domestic violence allegations against him. And I remember telling you guys, I thought it was very interesting that they didn't vet the people that they were hiring. Why would you hire somebody like that? Like, why isn't somebody looking at their past? So they got rid of him, and then they hired an ex-police officer who they found out was convicted of strangling his wife. This guy, ex-police officer, domestic abuse again. Again, not properly vetted. So that makes you wonder who's hiring their staff. You know, this guy is dangerous. They're all dangerous. And this is who Harry and Meghan are paying. So anyway, now they've hired Kim Kardashian's ex-bodyguard. My question is, why is he Kim Kardashian's ex-bodyguard? Moving on. Okay, you guys, I saw this article, and all I want to say is I am glad that other people also noticed that hike she was on was phony, that it was a complete setup with back grid because she wanted people talking about her and not talking about the coronation. Okay? All right, let's move on now to something bigger. All right, this picture was taken of Harry walking into the church with Jack Brooksbank and a very pregnant wife, Eugenie. And I noticed what this person said. Apparently, Harry said something kind of joking about Eugenie and the fact that, she had a big belly. But I agree with this Twitter user. A pregnant woman's body is not something that you usually bring up in polite conversation. Good thing the whole thing was caught on video. Watch this. So here they are walking into the church. He's talking with Beatrice's husband. And at some point he says something and Eugenie turns around and looks at him. So they continue to walk in. Just watch. And look where he puts his hands. He's like, ooh, big belly. Eugenie turns around. She doesn't look very happy. She immediately closes her jacket over her stomach. And just in case you didn't see that, here it is, closer up. Tell me that he's not being rude. Eugenie does not look happy. I agree with Lucy Bennett. He probably made some rude, crass gesture, and Eugenie, was obviously upset. She turned around, she closed her jacket, and as a matter of fact, I don't think she spoke to him again for the rest of the service. I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing it. All right, we're rolling into the end now. Now, this article that came out saying that the rift between the two couples will never be healed, I have to say, I completely agree. You cannot go on national TV and spew a bunch of lies, things that are proven later on to be lies. And you cannot write a tell-all book and make all kinds of horrible allegations about your family, a book that will stand for all time, and expect that I'm so sick of people going, the royal family need to reach out and give an olive branch. They need to settle this. They're not the ones attacking. That would be Harry and Meghan. If they want back in, they're the ones who need to make amends and fix this, not William and Catherine. All right, quick update on Harry's court case. More documents were submitted to the court by lawyers representing Harry. And he's claiming that the King and Diana and the Princess of Wales and all these people were targeted by the Mirror Group newspaper, and it paid $10 million to private investigators to snoop on celebrities. Also in the documents, he is now saying that they are responsible of Chelsea Davion, his breakup in 2010. So we all know that she was really the love of his life. And he's claiming that their activities made her decide that royal life was not for her. And but that's not what we heard. We heard that when she saw Catherine's wedding, that's when she decided that it was too much for her. Now, he's also dragging Piers Morgan into it, saying that he had to have known about the illegal hacking. Of course, when they asked Piers Morgan said, don't talk to me. Why don't you get Harry to apologize for the privacy intrusion for his whole family that he's been doing? Very good point. Now, he's also claiming, 33 suspicious calls were made to his phone, 300, whatever. 7 calls were made to Diana's mother. How he would know all this, who knows? Now, the Mail said, listen, there may be some evidence to show that, we might have done some stuff, but no. So they gave the man an apology. They basically said, this is enough, and it's too late anyway. You can't wait 15 years and then file a lawsuit. There you go. I'll keep an eye on this for you. Okay? Developing story. So, let's go on to what happened here at the house. So we had Finn outside. We're outside walking. Finn had been acting kind of weird for about an hour. And then I looked up and I saw these clouds and I thought, wow, something big is coming. Now, while we're doing this, my son, the one who moved out, calls and goes, Mom, there was a huge storm here. Big pieces of hail. He sends me this picture. I was like, uh-oh, that doesn't look good. Let's get the cars inside. Let's, hunker down. Finn jumped to the couch and there was a big pile of pillows and he literally buried himself under the pillows with just his face sticking out. So I go to check on the other animals and Toodles and Tigger are both on my bed, fast asleep. The storm didn't seem to be bothering them at all. It was very odd. Anyway, this was an absolutely horrible storm. It poured rain, hail. This went on for about 30, 40 minutes, and then all of a sudden, it was gone and the sun came out again. I've never seen anything like it. All right, you guys, you know what to do. Make those comments good and write them down below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future uploads. Don't forget to go into my description box and get the link to my Twitter, my Getter, my Rumble, my email, and my physical address in case there's something you want to mail me. For those of you who've donated to my coffee fund and through the thanks button, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.